The woman opened her bloody mouth and hissed wildly at the baby. The baby cried out in fear. She was a vampire that was about to mutate. So as not to harm her baby, she pulled the fangs out of her mouth. In the years that followed, she wore a hood every day. She used a special potion to control her mutation, raising her son as a human. On this day, mother and son were preparing to leave for New York because the woman had found a way to cure her by replacing all the blood in her body. She would be able to become a human being once and for all. And just as the woman was getting on the plane with great anticipation, something unexpected happened. A man covered in blood took out a gun. It turns out that just now, several hijackers collaborated with each other, had killed all the air marshals and the captain of the plane. The passengers were very scared because they did not know what the other party's purpose. At that moment, the boy found a hiding place from the structure of the plane. He found a place to hide, so he took advantage of the hijackers' lack of attention. He ran over there. The mother tried to stop him, but the robber, Blondie, found him. He didn't say a word, directly shot the woman. Then he grabbed the little boy and tried to kill him together. But the captain who arrived stopped him in time. This man is a bloodthirsty and brutal madman. But at that moment, the blonde did not know a monster more horrible than him is also about to wake up. At the moment of death, the woman fell into a deep memory. It was a few years ago. The three of them were driving home. Suddenly, the car broke down. It broke down on the road. The husband wanted to seek help in the neighborhood, but went half a day but did not return. So she was afraid that something would happen. So she followed the footprints and went to look for. The woman came to an abandoned house, but found a puddle of blood on the ground. When she went inside the house to check, suddenly a monster rushed out. Fortunately, the woman quickly ran into the room and closed the door. This is how she managed to escape from the disaster. And there was her dead husband lying on the floor. Then the monster was about to climb in through the window. The woman rushed to stop it. At that moment, the sun came up. Fear of sunlight. The monster quickly fled, but the woman's arm was accidentally bitten by it. With a coughing sound, the woman, who was already dead, suddenly came to life again. She dragged her frail body to the cargo hold and grabbed a dog from the cage. The woman now desperately needed blood to replenish her energy. Then the bald robber who heard the sound found her. The bald robber was surprised and said, "Oh my God." Then the woman jumped on the bald robber. He didn't have time to react. He was quickly put down, and then the woman strangled him alive. After sucking his blood, the wounds on the woman's body were recovering rapidly. Even the teeth that were pulled out grew back together. Feeling bad, she hurriedly took out a potion and injected it. But then the intercom came over the side. Their conversation. It turned out that these people were not hijackers. They were terrorists who wanted to blow up the plane. In order to save her son, the woman was ready to stop them as a vampire. The boy took off his mother's sunglasses, only to find that her eyes had turned red. The boy asks, "Are you drinking blood again?" Turns out she was a vampire disguised as a human. After draining the blood of a bald-headed robber, she came to the cabin to stop the terrorists because they had planted a bomb on the plane. The man on the sidelines was stunned. He had just witnessed the woman being shot on the spot. Why was she here now, intact and unharmed? Then the woman took her son to the cockpit, only to find that it was empty. The plane was also set to automatic mode. After learning from the flight attendant that the captain was dead, the woman then asked aloud if any of them could fly the plane. At this point, a man stepped forward. He said he had taken several simulator lessons, so they went to the cockpit. After the terrorists parachuted in and then controlled the plane to land. But what they didn't expect was the other side of the blonde brother ready to parachute found the body of his companion. Then he opened the hatch of the cargo hold. According to the blood stains, he found that the body of the woman was missing. He said, "She's not dead." So they went back into the cabin. After learning that the woman was in the cockpit, they knocked on the door. The woman wouldn't come out, so they grabbed a random passenger. They shot the woman right in front of the monitor. "There are 200 passengers here. I can play with you all day." The woman still didn't move, so the captain had the blonde brother grab a little girl. This made the woman, who was also a mother, couldn't stand it any longer. She hissed in anger and her teeth and nails grew back. She quickly opened the hatch. She picked up the captain and started biting him. Soon, with the captain's screams, he lost consciousness. Several terrorists, upon seeing this, they were immediately frightened and backed up. The woman just wanted to continue the pursuit, but found that the man on the ground had begun to mutate. So she grabbed her dagger directly into the heart of the other. On the other hand, the blonde hid in front of the cargo hold from the woman's seat. He took her purse, threw the diary inside. He discovered her secret. He found out that the woman was a vampire who was afraid of the sun. While everyone was too scared to go outside, Blondie was armed with a homemade weapon. He went straight to her. He took advantage of the woman's fear of sunlight. He used the woman's fear of sunlight to take out an ultraviolet flashlight and knocked her to the ground. But the next blonde didn't do anything to fix the problem. Instead, He took out a syringe and drew a woman's blood. After doing so, Blondie grabbed a weapon and prepared to end the woman's life. But the boy appeared in time to point a gun at him. During their argument, the bullet pierced the glass of the plane. Blondie also took the opportunity to escape from the area. He hid in a bulletproof car, no matter how hard the woman shot. It did not help. Then he took out a syringe. He injected himself with vampire blood. Seeing that Blondie had started to change, the woman rushed to find a bottle of strong wine, poured it into the car through a small hole, and then lit a match and threw it in. But what I didn't expect was, this is a high-tech car. It has the function of automatic fire extinguishing. Seeing that the blonde's companions are about to come, the woman also had to retreat temporarily. But at this time, they did not know the dying Blondie had become a bloodthirsty and brutal vampire. The woman pulled off the phone cord and tied the man's arm, and then picked up the axe. It turns out that just now, the mutated blonde brother infected all the companions in the cargo hold. Black tried to close the door to resist, but was unfortunately bitten by the vampire. In order to prevent his mutation, the woman just cut off Black's arm. But just after the crisis was over, a dying rich man quietly opened the hatch. It turns out that he wanted to mutate to keep himself alive, but Blondie didn't let him succeed. A direct punch ended his life. After coming out, Blondie bit people on sight. At once, all the passengers in the cabin rushed towards the cockpit. The few people inside could only hold onto the cabin door for dear life. The woman knew the seriousness of the situation. If these vampires came to the ground, then the human race would be doomed. After some deliberation, they decided to blow up the plane, but the remote control for the bomb was still on the bodies of the hijackers in the cargo hold. There was only a small space in the cockpit that could be accessed. The little boy defied his mother. He took the purple light and went in. There were mutated humans everywhere along the way. Luckily, he used the ultraviolet light to clear the way. He managed to get the remote control of the bomb. But when it was time to go back, suddenly vampires rushed out and knocked his flashlight down. He had no choice but to go under the car to hide. The woman saw through the surveillance, saw that her son was in danger, so she told Blackie, tell him to take care of her son. After getting a positive answer from the other side, the woman directly turned around and bit the man on the side. After drinking the blood, the woman instantly regained her footing. She opened the hatch and rushed in the direction of her son. On the other hand, the blonde who was sucking blood also heard the boy's cry for help. He pushed open the car and prepared to kill the boy. At the critical moment, the boy's mother arrived in time. They immediately fought together, but soon the woman was pinned down by the other side. The boy rushed to attract the blonde's attention by shouting. While he was approaching him, directly detonated a bomb on the side. And the woman took the opportunity to knock the blonde out of the way. It was the time when the sun was rising. The blonde eventually died in the pain of the sun, but by then the woman was also dying. In order to save his mother's life, the boy cut his palm, dripping blood into his mother's mouth, and the vampire's instinct almost made her bite her son. Seeing his mother successfully revive, the boy tried to approach her, but was pushed aside by the mother, as she had now taken too much blood, can no longer control her mutation. The remaining consciousness, she could only keep pushing her son into the sunlight. The helpless boy could only watch his mother disappear into the darkness. The mother reluctantly left. The little boy was also in tears. Soon the plane successfully landed at a nearby airport. The military's armed squad was already in place around the area. The boy used the parachute rope to climb down from the plane. Blackie in the cockpit kept telling the military there were monsters inside, but they simply do not believe. Even the boy's words were dismissed as gibberish. The commander ordered Blackie's arrest. Soldiers also broke open a hatch and attacked the inside. In the next scene, but everyone present was completely stunned. It was like a hell on earth. There was blood everywhere. The military, who looked back at the surveillance, was amazed and said, "What is all this stuff?" Then the boy jumped out of the ambulance. He rushed towards the direction of the plane. By this time, Blackie was also brought out by the military, and it only took a few minutes for the vampires. The team was wiped out. Some of them had even reached the ground. Among them was the boy's mother, who had lost her mind. When the boy saw his mother, he could not help but call out, "Mom," but she was already unconscious. Seeing his mother coming towards him, the boy took out the remote control from the doll, detonated a bomb. After watching this movie, I felt the greatness of mother's love. No matter what she has become, he is using his instinct to protect his son. A woman is weak, a mother is strong.